Need legal help quick? You better call Nick. Yeah, did you get that email?
Oh, the copy? Yeah. Yeah, I got it.
The following program is an exclusive Disruption Networks production.
Hey, Disruption Network. This is Mike Sacco, the general manager at Nye Volkswagen of Rome. If you don't know me by name, it's only because you have not received the best deal. There's only one reason to leave Utica, and that's to come see me in Rome and get the best deal on your next new, pre-owned, or certified VW. Mention that you heard this ad from Disruption Network and receive $250 off your next vehicle purchase. You'll know why our customers say, I love my Nye VW. Come see us at 5865 Rome Taberg Road in Rome, or visit us online at nyvwofrome.com.
The Property Sisters of the Mohawk Valley was born when three top producing agents with over 25 years of combined experience selling real estate joined forces to take real estate to the next level. We practice with honesty, integrity, and the knowledge to help make the buying and selling process easy and stress-free for all of our clients. We pledge to always make our clients our top priority from start to finish, and even after the house is closed. We will always be a valued resource for information and assistance for our buyers and sellers. Our customers over the years have become not only past clients, but great friends. As we join hands together as the Property Sisters of the Mohawk Valley, we look forward to serving our clients and our community and making a positive difference. You can reach us at 315-601-9630 for all of your real estate needs.
Hi, this is attorney Nick Passalacqua. The team of attorneys I have assembled at Passalacqua & Associates has been carefully hand-picked to include the best trial attorneys in the particular areas of the law that we practice. Have you been charged with DWI or any other crime? Members of our team include former assistant district attorneys, now fighting to protect your rights 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Have you or someone you love been seriously injured in a motor vehicle accident? Members of the team at Passalacqua & Associates include former insurance defense attorneys, now fighting to ensure that you get every penny you're entitled to. If you need legal help quick, don't waste your time or money calling anyone else. Remember, for legal help quick, you better call Nick and the team at Passalacqua & Associates. 315-500-NICK or 315-500-6425 or visit cnytriallaw.com today.
Welcome to EC Radio Podcast. We would like to thank all of our sponsors for joining the Disruption team, and we hope that you will support all of our sponsors. And of course, we appreciate you listening to this program.
EC Radio, Disruption Networks. EC Radio, Disruption Networks.
Oh, man, I screwed it up, chicken.
I screwed it up. How about that?
It's like being at the D-line.
I'm back, baby. What's happening, everybody? EC Radio, how you doing? Greetings and salutations. I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore around here, but just pressing buttons that seem to work but not work when I want them to work, and I'm not magnetized is what I come to figure out. I think that's the problem is I'm not magnetized. It's Z. How you doing? Beautiful day here in upstate New York. It's gorgeous outside.
It's back to being summer again.
Yeah, yesterday was winter, and now today it's beautiful today. And, big love, and I'm throwing out a lot of thoughts and prayers to everybody out in the Carolinas right now. I got some bunch of friends down in North Carolina and stuff, so I'm hoping they're bunkering down, grabbing a whole bunch of vodka and alcohol and just having a hurricane party. That's what you do when you have a hurricane is you have a hurricane party.
You drink hurricanes at a hurricane party?
You do it all. A lot of SoCo, right? A lot of Southern Comfort.
SoCo is for? I was thinking rum.
Well, that's what's in a hurricane is SoCo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking rum as well.
They do make rum ones, too. You could substitute. There's lots of substitutions for many different drinks. But big love and respect out to all those in the Carolinas and down there battling Ant Flo.
Hopefully it's like the past ones in Florida, the really bad ones. Remember, it was like Category 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then they kind of just veered off.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I'm hoping it does the same thing, just veers off back into the ocean.
And then there's people that you've been in a few hurricanes, haven't you?
Not hurricanes, tornadoes.
Tornadoes?
Yeah.
You're a tornado in yourself.
Yeah, right?
Chicken. You're a mental tornado.
Back when I lived in Florida, we first moved down. We just got into our condos. I had no cell phone or anything like that. We didn't have a line into the house or anything yet. And I wake up in the morning and hear that there was 15 tornadoes that touched down right around Kissimmee and then hit Cape Canaveral, where we worked and we lived in. So it was like a mile away. One hit the boat that we worked on and ripped the top off.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you wake up in the morning and it was like so many people were dead and all this shit. I'm like, wow. Like, we slept through the whole thing.
That's heavy duty, man. You slept through it?
We slept through it.
Because you were wasted, right?
Well.
Did you get drunk?
Probably.
Like, when you have a natural disaster like that and you're going to stay in, you got to get drunk.
Well, the thing is, we were disconnected from everything. We had no TV because we just moved down there. Like, I literally lived in a van down by the river for like a year or a couple months.
You're Matt Foley?
Yeah, definitely. With Lenny and Lance. Okay, so.
You're Matt Foley at 41.
There's like 600 pounds of us.
Down by the river!
So, yeah, so like we had no idea. So we wake up in the morning, my clock radio as it goes off in the morning was like, 15 tornadoes touched down around Kissimmee, Cape Canaveral, and 14 dead, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. We just slept right through it. I had no idea. I'm kind of glad we didn't because we didn't get scared. You had no idea what was happening.
Man, scary situation. So, love and respect out to all those in the Carolinas. That's for sure. Be safe. They buckle it down. Before we get into our podcast, real quick, some love and respect out to EJ Moving Company. We also have Nye Volkswagen of Rome and our boy Nick Pasalacqua as well, and we'll be talking about them in just a little bit. Got to give some love and respect out to the sponsors. Joining us today via the Skype line, an old friend of mine, since I am on a music kick as of late, Chicken. I feel like my life is...
Past 40 years, you mean?
You get 43 to be exact. It's around a little music kick. And who better to talk about the music industry and music itself and up-and-coming bands? And you do look like Bob Seger. The David Bauer is joining us, my old pal and chum. We've done some radio stuff for many years, and it's good to have you. It's good to see you on the show, my friend. How are you?
Great to be here. I'm doing fine, thanks. Keeping warm. We have all summer. We don't get a lot of winter. We get 6 months of summer and 6 months of cool summer.
Don't rub it in, pal.
Hey, I did think of one thing when you were going through your introductions. Actually, I thought of a couple of things.
Okay.
One, I don't know, I may know Nick, the attorney, indirectly because I think I was with a relative of his years ago in the drum corps in Rome. But that's a whole other story because, as you know, I'm a New York boy. I mean, I'm from the area. I grew up I didn't exactly grow up, but I aged a little in a place called Holland Patent. And due to my mother and father deciding that neither one wanted me. They split, and I wound up living in Rome with my dad and graduated from Rome. But anyway, that's a short bio that you didn't need to hear. The other thing I was thinking of, though, is checking there when you guys were discussing your hurricane parties and rum versus SoCo. Now, I'm not an expert on this, but I believe, I think the confusion arises from the fact that if you're on the high seas in a hurricane, it's rum.
It's rum.
On
Right.
land, it's SoCo.
Right on. That's I love it. He does look like Bob Seger, doesn't he?
I've been called worse.
But your roots do run deep here in Central New York. That's for sure, man. You used to work with, was it WTLB, right? You were an old you were a jock.
My first full-time job was at WTLB with the, this was back, 1963, 64. Don DeRosa, Ken Cornell, Joe Tierno. We had some really good times together. And then I traveled around. I had my radio career and wound up back in upstate New York there for a little while. We got to work together, you and I, at the Utica Music and Arts Festival back, I think it was, 2010?
Is that when it was? I was thinking, because all the years are blending as one, and 2010 is in the middle of my blackout years, so I don't really remember too much in 2010. But
Trust me, it doesn't get any better.
I'm sure. That's what I got to look forward to. But I remember doing some stuff. We were set up at the Hotel Utica.
Right. You guys did a wonderful job setting me up. I was co-hosting on another online show. Strictly, it was all audio, and you guys did a magnificent job getting us set up. You got us a room. You got us the phone lines, desk, the help. I mean, it was beautiful. I couldn't have asked for better help. You guys were really great. We had a great time. Got to talk with a lot of great acts, and there's been a few that we've kept in touch with that are still in existence. I remember you were doing your thing back then. Are you still doing your music in your spare time?
I wish I could. No, I need to find some time and pick up that bass again and start jamming out again for sure.
You really should. You need
Thanks,
to,
buddy.
You need to keep it as a part of your life. If it's not mainstream or necessary, at least for relaxation and get away from the real world.
I've been too busy taking care of other musicians that I haven't focused on me.
I was going to say, you got that 3 hours of sleep that you're doing nothing. I mean,
there you go. What's wasted time?
Yeah, man.
You sleep a long time when you're gone,
Right? So David has a cool thing called the David Bowers Awards that you can listen to every Sunday on Blog Talk Radio. He's also syndicated in Rochester. And how many different stations you syndicated in?
We have one broadcast station, our anchor station, WRFZ FM 106.3, which is Rochester Free Radio. They're online at rochesterfreeradio.org.
Still in upstate New York, bro. You're still here, huh?
Mm-hmm. And we've been in touch with a couple others. We are available to anyone that wants to carry our show. I can do it. Unabashed plug here. Just drop me a line, david@thedavidbowers.com. We'll work out arrangements. We could get the show on there. And then our internet coverage is where we really cover the world. I mean, we're on Blog Talk Radio, which is our home base, blogtalkradio.com/thedavidbowers. I keep it simple so I can remember it. And then beyond that, we're on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, all the different clouds and online sources. If you can't find us, you're not trying.
Are you on Cloud 9 by any chance?
Once in a while.
Once in a while.
Right at the moment, right now, I think I'm about 8.5, but we're getting close.
Nice. And what you do is you debut new music from new artists and up-and-coming independent artists. And anybody you're really high on right now as far as artists goes that you've interviewed recently or that you're really liking right now?
Actually, I've been very fortunate in that we've been able to get a lot of good artists. I can honestly say we have not had a bad interview. There were, we've been going 5 years on my own show. We've had one or two that were a bit of a struggle, but you have to keep in mind we're dealing with new artists for the most part. We do have major names on from time to time. As a matter of fact, right now we're running this week's show was with Joe Bonsall of the Oak Ridge Boys, who spent an hour with us talking about their landmark album they've got out, 17th Avenue Revival, and telling us, behind the scenes stuff. And Joe and I have been in contact and friends for almost as long as you and I.
Nice.
And he spent an hour with us. We played some tracks from the album and everything. But for the most part, we concentrate on new, emerging, upcoming indie artists of all genres. I mean, we haven't done opera. And that's pretty much the only one we haven't at least come close to. We've done pop, rock, metal, jazz, you name it, we've had it on there. Hip hop, and I'm not a hip hop guy, but we've been fortunate enough to have a couple of hip hop artists, and got a couple coming up. Not hip hop, but a couple of artists coming up. This next week is an interesting show. We have a group that I'm high on out of Chicago. As a matter of fact, they're the #1 indie band in Chicago, and they've been on the show a couple of times. The Pond Hawks.
The Pond Hawks.
The Pond Hawks, yes. We have we've joked with them because it's so easy to slip and say pond scum, but you never know what's going to happen. They're a really neat bunch of people. We have I love having them on the show because they do great interviews. We have a good time. And the important thing is they do great music. They are very McCartney oriented. You can hear the McCartney sound come through on a lot of their music, but they do their own sound. I mean, it's not like they're a cover band for McCartney or the Beatles, but if you listen to their music, you can hear the McCartney influence come through. And they have, in fact, worked with him. They did a video for him back in, a while back up in Boston. So they have, in fact, a real connection, but they're a really neat group. That's going to be on this week. And the other one that's on, I'm really excited about, because this one is going to be kind of, I won't say off the wall, but it is a departure from what you would normally expect to hear. The lady is a Native American, and I believe Ojibwe and Lakota. Her name that she goes by is Jeannette Quay, Medicine Bird. And she has tried and succeeded in creating a very original sound. If you listen to her music, you catch the influences that she had growing up in Detroit, for one thing, along with running into several artists before they became famous. And
how do you say the name again?
It's Jeannette Quay.
Jeannette Quay, Medicine Bird.
Jiiniikwe.
Wow.
That's her tribal name.
Okay.
And her music, the stuff we're playing, the 2 tracks we're playing this week, I've got one that is kind of EDM on the face of it.
Oh yeah.
But you catch a bit of a rap carry through in the lyric, and you listen to her music. She does everything from influence of soul, gospel, and of course rock. She's up in the NAMMYs, the Native American Music Awards, this year for best rock record by a female artist, and it's really original. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Now, I'll say right up front that not everybody's going to like it, but it is unique. I commend her on coming up with something really original and making it work.
I love it. If any new artist out there wants to submit some music to you, how do they do that?
Same thing. My easy-to-remember email address, david@thedavidbowers.com. I would prefer if you just send me a couple of your best tracks and a short bio. You don't need a whole EPK. Up front, I don't need pictures, but you can send a picture if you like. It never hurts. But basically, I subscribe to the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. Just send me a couple of tracks and a bio and your contact information, of course. That's very important.
That makes for a great T-shirt. Keep it simple, stupid. I love it. You mentioned him earlier, David. Do it one time with me. Bapa, mau mau, giddy up, Elvira. You mentioned the Oak Ridge Boys. Every time I hear Oak Ridge Boys, that's all I can think of.
That man has Richard Sturban. He sang with. Oh, God, I can't remember the gospel group, but it was the group that backed Elvis back in the day. He did the Madison Square Garden concert, as a matter of fact. And that voice that you hear on Mo, that is his voice. That's not a singing voice. When you talk to him, when I met him first time, Joe introduced us, and he said, "Hello, Dave."
Hello, David.
I just dropped my jaw. I said, "You got to be kidding me. That can't be his real voice," but it is. And the guys are really neat guys. I love them to death. Joe has been like a brother to me, and Richard's cool. Dwayne, another neat one. I did an interview here, a year or so ago on the show. We'd set it up, and they didn't know the exact timing of where they were going to be or what they were going to be doing at that time. And wound up, they were on their bus headed back to Nashville. And Joe and Dwayne sat there and talked to us on the bus as they were cruising along. And, hey, there goes the restaurant. We could have stopped there. You know, it was kind of a neat experience. But they are. And William Lee Golden is a tremendously artistically talented person. Not only a singer, but he has some professional art exhibitions out. You can check all of these things online if you want to follow up.
The whole band pretty much started off as a gospel band, too.
The Oak Ridge Boys,
and they just got
started
stuck in the country genre.
I can't remember the guy's name. It was Sam Gediddlehopper or something. It was an oddball name. Back in 1940s, when they were creating the first atomic bomb at the Oak Ridge plant. And because it was so secretive, everybody had to live in the compound. You did not go off the compound. So they would bring in everything they needed. Movies, food, of course, entertainment. And this guy and the Oak Ridge Quartet came in there and played. I don't even think it was called Oak Ridge Quartet at first. They adopted the name from being so loved at the Oak Ridge Arsenal, whatever they called the
compound.
But they were there during the creation of the atomic bomb. And they went on to have quite a gospel career. They kept it going. Finally, in the mid-1950s, I guess it was, the record label decided that it would sound a little more commercial if you called yourself the Oak Ridge Boys instead of the Oak Ridge Quartet. Might have been the 60s, but anyways, they changed to Boys. And they are, I don't know, it's hard to believe what these guys are. They have been, Joe Bonsall is the youngest member of the group as far as having been with them. He's just a kid. He's only been with them 43 years.
Wow.
Oh, the new guy.
Yeah, he's the new guy.
Yeah, he's the new kid on the block. Yeah, I mean, for a group not only to be together that long, because, hey, let's face it, there's some 50s groups that still have, some even have some of the original artists, but there's some 50 groups out there still cranking it out. But to have a group together that long,
it's amazing.
That well, and still selling records. This new album they've got out, I hope it gets nominated for a Grammy. I guarantee it's going to get nominated for a Dove Award. It's not solid gospel, but it goes back to the roots of rock and roll, which are actually in black gospel, as anybody who's studied it knows. And they go back to some less than gospel tunes, but I guess you could categorize it as gospel if you had to put it in a niche. But it is a fantastic album. It's getting plaudits all over the world. And like I said, here's a 50-year-old group that's still selling like a current hit group.
They've been around so long, their very first opening gig was for Moses.
Actually, yes, I was told that. I wasn't there. I'm not that old, but I came along a little later. But I was told, yes, that was the kid. They had actually turned down a gig on the Ark.
Hilarious. Another band doing it still with all original members since the 60s, ZZ Top. Just seeing them at the state fair, watching them, and they're still doing it at a high level, a huge production. I mean, they've lost a couple steps along the way, of course, but I mean, what a great show, and still doing it after 50 freaking years.
You know, it was
Exactly. Yeah, they are. And
year ago today, I seen Bob Seger.
Another one.
Went out there, did a 3-hour set, and like didn't have to take a break, and 52 encores. It was great.
I know that it's well, we've talked. I know I've talked with several of the artists I've had on the show, but the Oaks in particular, we talked about how they've managed not only to stay together but to stay friends, of course.
Yeah.
And they're basically family now, and also to keep kicking ass. Because these guys, you get a chance to see their show. I don't care what kind of music you like or don't like. Go see their show. They put so much heart and soul into what they do that it is impossible for you not to get a little carried away with it. They get up there, and they don't just go through the routine. They get up there every night like this is a new show.
I know recently they played for my buddy Jason Klug over at Del Lago Casino. I think it was maybe a year ago or so recently, but I know they're still doing it after 50 freaking years. They're still out there doing it at a high level.
And the key, as Joe mentioned to me a long time ago, and they've told me since, the key is they love what they do. It's not an act. As Joe told me this last time, he says. We were talking about how long they're on the road, the travel and everything. And he says, that's what I get paid for. I do the music because I love it. I get paid for all the time I'm on the road.
Right on. David, are you still active? Do you still, as far as going to concerts and stuff like that, do you see many shows?
No, I wouldn't say many. I'm still active. I will go from time to time. But I don't, I'm not 21 and traveling the circuit anymore, so I don't get out and around as much as I did.
I'm sure there's a couple bands out there would make you leave the house for a night, right?
You got one right in your area, talking about groups I'm high on.
Yeah.
You've got one right from your area, and I've had them on the show a couple of times. The first time I got talking with their leader, and we stumbled onto our roots because he's from upstate New York too, and it turned out that Terry Johnson lived on the Johnson farm.
The Swamp Drivers.
Yes. Terry lived on the Johnson farm, which was across the street and down the road about, 10, 15 acres from where I lived.
Come on.
We grew up together, played baseball in the lot my mother and I cleared off our farm so that we could build a baseball park.
You're blowing my mind right now.
Hey, what do you think it did to us? Holy crow, I played baseball with you 60 years ago.
Wow. That's amazing.
Crazy.
What an awesome group they are. I mean, the fact that they've added this bit where Terry builds these homemade instruments, and they're legitimate instruments. I mean, they're not gimmicks.
Oh, yeah.
They're instruments that they not only play. I know when they played with MTV there at the Stanley of Utica, the guys from the band came over to them and asked if they could play their instruments.
Right.
Because they were so blown away by it.
We should explain that they're very innovative.
Right.
They make,
Yes.
and they've been on the show before. He's got that guitar that's made out of Harley parts. He's got another guitar, the garden hoe. There's one made out of a shovel.
Frying pan.
A plunger.
Yeah, plunger.
Which is called the crapster. Right?
The crapster.
Or is it called the crapster? Right? Or,
and what they call the Harley one, the Hogcaster.
the Hogcaster, yeah.
And of course, their drums with garbage cans and
Crappicaster, that's
stuff.
it.
Crapcaster.
But yet they have some really cool guitars, and the bass player makes his own basses out of different things, and the drummer beats on like garbage cans, and he has a kit, but there's other instruments
Such a sick
percussive
sound,
around,
too.
and they're great. They rock the house. They're an amazing band. They were at the State Fair too, playing the Courtside Tavern.
Yes.
And Terry's an amazing musician, has been around for many years. I remember him when he was with Johnson and Company back in the day, and he's formed this really cool, unique thing. He was on Rachel Ray.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's been all over with it, so it's good to see. That's awesome that you're on those guys right now, and what a small world that you guys actually communicate.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
And you wondered why I thought about coming back and staying in the area. I mean, there's still, even as old as I am, I've still got people that I know back there, and that are still extant and with us, and actually moving, thinking, and breathing. But it's neat. Yeah, it was that was a mind blower when we said, "Wait a minute, you lived on Miller Road, and I lived on Miller where?" And then it dawned on me. I said, "Wait a minute, yeah, down the road from me was the Johnson farm, and sure and heck, it was that Johnson."
That's insane.
Wow. It's funny how you can recommunicate like that, you know?
It
Just
is.
bring it back together. Talk about coming full circle.
Right?
Amazing the twists and turns life deals you.
Yeah, I highly recommend the Swamp Drivers, too. They're a great
Oh.
band doing it. Incredible blues rock thing, and I love what they're doing. And
That's the neat thing. They not only have a fantastic gimmick. I mean, starting off as the Swamp Drivers before the innovated guitars and everything. Starting off with the Swamp Drivers and that original sound they have. It's kind of a blues swamp rock amalgam. And then when they stumbled onto the instrumentation, one of the guys built one as a prank. I don't know if it was Terry or who built one as a joke gift for one of the other guys in the band. He liked it so much, he played it on a couple of shows. It went over big, so they decided to delve into it a little more and start creating all these instruments. And so you've got a band that does some good stuff to begin with and does it well, and they work at their craft.
Oh, yeah.
And then they add this gimmick of these crazy instruments that you would never believe. I mean, hey, kid, what do you mean you don't have a drum? Go out and get your garbage can and some other stuff and build your own set.
yeah, right.
Tremendous. I love them.
Go grab that plunger. That plunger's got a unique sound to it, too.
Does.
When you hear it, it's very...
Like throaty.
Yeah, gritty.
It was like
gurgly.
Yeah.
It's like a dark sound.
I was expecting like a high pitched sound, like a ding, 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 but it was like throaty. I was like, holy crap! Not
Yeah.
what I was expecting.
It was evil. It had,
I liked it.
It would have sounded good on some like heavy metal album.
Like a metal blues.
Yeah.
Give him time. He's selling the stuff out there. Somebody will put a band together with some of those things.
You know, the cool thing about Terry, too, is he does a podcast like every Wednesday. Well, not really a podcast. Well, he goes live on his Facebook page
Right,
and
Facebook
does a
Live.
demonstration of all the fancy guitars that he's made throughout the years, and he plays them and he shows all the parts and what it's made out of and stuff like that. And I'm talking frying pans and he's probably got a toaster that he made a guitar out of. You never know.
I remember when he showed me the first time. He showed me the one of the early guitars. I don't remember which one it was, but he showed it to me, and he went on screen and he started playing. And I said, "Holy shit, that's got a nice sound to it."
Was that the Crappacaster when you said "holy shit"?
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I forget. I spent a lot of years in AM radio and FM radio, and now that I've been away from it for a while, I forget. My PCs. Z, you know how PC I am. How I always really want to be PC.
I'm glad you brought up AM and FM radio. When did the switch happen from when AM wasn't really the thing anymore, and then FM became predominantly, mainstream?
Mid-'70s.
Mid-'70s?
I know. I was in Florida at the time. FM had been building up. Before I left New York, I was at WTRY, and we simulcasted.
Try?
WTRY in Troy.
Wait, okay, I got you.
Okay, we were.
Was that their call letters were Try?
Yes. Sometimes it can be very trying. No, it was a great place. Their program director that I worked for, Bill Rock, is now one of the biggest names that you've never heard of. Although you've heard him, he's been the national voice for NBC TV, the guy that comes on in the evening and said, tonight on this show, so-and-so is starring. And he's been that for, 10, 15 years now. He's worked at a couple of big stations in New York, has his own production company. Great guy. Really went on to make a huge success of himself. But we were combo. We were AM, FM simulcast. And I noticed at the time that FM was accepted. Didn't have as many people listening to it as AM yet, but it was accepted. It was functional. It wasn't this off-the-wall thing like ham radio that only a few people did. And then when I got to Florida, I was working down there. I went up and I was programming a station in Gainesville, the college town, WGGG. And it was an AM station. And I, again, being totally PC as I am and correct, I got to toying with it. And I said, you know what? FM is coming on, and there was an FM station in the market, so the college kids were starting to lean over towards the FM. So I just said, we got to compete with this because WGGG had owned the market for years, and now this FM upstart was starting to cut into our share. So I spent some time and created my own format, which was an adaptation of an FM rock format where I was able to mix in the top 40 concept of, the rotating top hits. So you always had the top hits coming up to hook the listeners. And at the same time, I worked it so you could automatically, there would be places for album cuts, album tracks of any length. I mean, we would play the whole side of an album in the proper rotation so that we could, do that, experiment, be creative, go to the new concept, and not lose the old listeners. That was the challenge.
So you would keep switching back and forth?
Well, no, it was built into the format.
I got you.
We would start, for example, top of the hour. Sometimes we'd cheat and go in a minute or two early when everybody else was doing the news. That was a trick I learned at TLB in Utica. But
if you can learn how to be shady, it's definitely going to be in Utica. So.
You got it. If you're going to learn it anywhere, you're going to learn it in Utica. But we would come off the top of the hour, pow, with one of the power hits. One of the current and usually newer current top dogs. We wouldn't want something that had been number one for 18 weeks. We wanted something that was a strong number one today. And then we would go into I don't remember the exact format, but we went to a follow-up, an up-and-comer that was strong, that we knew was still coming. Mm-hmm. Then we would go to a total new track. And at that point, it could be a new single, it could be a new album track, it could be a long track. Uh-huh. We didn't track the entire albums during the daytime, but once we got into the evening and the overnights, then we worked in a full album into the rotation. Awesome. So we had a commercial power rotation, but we were playing the FM format as well. We were able to work in a lot of the stuff, and by doing that, we were able to keep a lot of the college kids that hadn't, become totally addicted to the thing at that time. If you remember in the 70s, your FM jocks were, that song ended. We've got another song here I'm going to play in just a minute. Let me get it out of we'll get it out of the sleeve and put it on the turntable. It was very laid back. You almost had to be buzzed to be. It made me nuts because I'm saying, play the damn song. I want to listen to you sit there and ham it on. But we were able to retain a lot of the college crowd. As a matter of fact, I had a lot of fun. And I even remember some of it. I did a Thursday night oldies bash at the on-campus bar there, the Ratskeller, and that was a fiasco. I mean, what a hell of a time we had those Thursday nights. And I would get out of there 3 in the morning or whatever, and I had to be on the air bright, good morning world, at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And that right there is what makes you a legend, my friend.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, there were a lot of days that 3 o'clock in the afternoon didn't get there soon enough.
You couldn't wait to get the hell out of there, right? But then you do it all over again. So that was the thing, too. Like, you were out doing a lot of remotes and maybe bar nights and hanging out at restaurants and stuff like that, too.
We didn't do as many remotes then as we did in the early years when I was in upstate New York. I mean, during the summer especially, if we did one remote a month, it was an off month. We were doing remotes all over the place. When I was at the Schenectady station, which Don DeRossi had taken over and was programming, we had our own crew of high school kids volunteered who would come in. They would go out and help set up. They would hang around to make sure we had drinks and food and anything else we needed. They came in and answered phones at nights for our online contest. We had a ongoing thing called Boss Band, where the locals would call in and vote for their favorite local bands. And at the end of the month, we took up the totals and named the winners and the couple of second and third place bands. And we had a big party there in Schenectady, and we had the bands come in and play. So we had a staff of mostly girls that were from high school, and they came in and answered phones for us for all night long. Usually it was, I think it was 7 to 11 they came in and answered phones taking the vote count. So we did a lot of remotes in that day. As a matter of fact, I've Still got some pictures of it. I've got a picture of one that I got a bright idea. I wanted to go see the Grand Prix. So I started putting together, this is back when I was starting to create sales packages, in my head at least, and I got this bright idea. Let's see, if I could get someone to sponsor me to do live reports from Watkins Glen, then me and one of my partners from the station could go to Watkins Glen, all expenses paid. And so I put together the package off the rate card, putting it together, basically the same, only jacking it up a little bit because it's a special event. Handed it to the sales department. Damned if they didn't sell it. They sold it to an Austin Romeo dealer. At that time, I didn't even know how to pronounce Romeo. It was Romeo to me. And they sold it, and Rick W. Perry and I got a camper mobile home, which back in those days was pretty rough. Like I said, I still got a picture of it. And we drove, it was from a friend of mine, and we drove it out to Watkins Glen, stayed there for the races, got stuck. It had rained that weekend. We got stuck in the mud and had to get towed out. But we had one heck of a time. So, yeah, we were doing a lot of remotes back in those days.
Seems like it's a frequent thing up there in Watkins Glen. A lot of mud in here.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as of late.
Such beautiful country,
and
it's
gorgeous
so
there.
Green for a reason. It's green because they get the water.
Who are some of your radio influences? People you were listening to.
Oh gosh, go back to people you might never have heard of. I can remember the early days, of course, WTLB. That was first. I started listening to DeRosa, and before him, Nick Dardano and Joe Motto, who later went on to legendary status in upstate New York as Boom Boom Brannigan. And that's where I started. Then we started having Dandy Dan Nevereth and some of the guys out at WNDR in Syracuse. And then I realized, hey, I leave the AM radio on at night, and I get all these exotic places. I can get Boston, I can get Chicago, I can get Fort Wayne, Indiana, what the heck ever that is. And so I started getting in touch with Dick Biondi was one crazy man. He's an upstate New Yorker. As a matter of fact, his brother, I can't remember his name, but his brother was a weatherman at TV stations in upstate New York. Dick Biondi was he was a psycho. He would say stuff on the air that you couldn't believe, and he didn't get away with it. But hey, he was like that. He had his personality, and he was wild and crazy. I remember when there's a legendary story about when he went to. Are we okay to get just a tad off color? I mean, I'm not going to be obscene, but
you could go way out of the lines.
I prefer it.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. It could be a G-rated show here, but the legendary story about Dick Biondi's when he left Chicago for Los Angeles was the same time the Dodgers moved from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. And he was doing this show early in the baseball season, doing his show, and he was going through his, one of his diatribes where he's rattling on about him and his girlfriend. He met this cute chick at the beach, lovely, nice legs, blonde hair, nice bod, whole 9 yards. Took her out to the ball game, had a great time with her, only she didn't understand baseball too much. So he took it upon himself to teach her, and she was catching on pretty well because he got her, he kissed her on the strikes and she kissed him on the balls. Now, I can't swear that's true, but it's been a legendary story that has been going around since 1960 or 69, whenever it was the Dodgers moved.
Nice. Yeah, when they moved in the 50s. No, early
late 50s, 59, 60, somewhere
around there.
But yeah, I got influenced by them, and then of course the power crew during the glory years of WABC in New York. I don't know, as there has been another whole staff as strong as that crew they had in the late 60s in WABC in New York. There have been jocks that may have been competitive with some of their jocks. There have been some great jocks out there, both in top 40 radio and other formats. But I don't know as there was ever assembled a whole crew that was unitedly strong as the WABC crew back in the late 70s.
Who was part of that crew?
Oh God, you're gonna ask. I'm trying to remember yeah, I get these brain lockups every now and then. My God, as soon as I get off here, I'll remember them all.
That's usually when you fall asleep, is when you remember, right?
Yeah, exactly. I found one neat thing. As your memory fades, you think of crutches. But I found one thing that really works, and I'm serious. This is not. Don't wait for a punchline. But one thing that really works, you get concentrating on something and it doesn't come to you. Walk away from it, forget it, and then all of a sudden, boom! It'll hit you in the head 10 minutes later.
I'm sure it'll hit you in the head in 10 minutes later.
I'll email you.
Yeah, do that. But yeah, you've had some great influences. You've worked with some great people throughout the years, too.
I have been very fortunate, worked with some really super people. I mentioned Bill Rock there, WTRY. Don DeRosa was kind of my mentor at WTLB, and then later I worked for him in Albany at WEEE, back when country wasn't cool, and that was short-lived. He moved on, and I wound up a few months later working for him in Poughkeepsie, and we had an AM/FM there, simulcast, and we rocked out there. And then I wound up coming back and working for him again in Schenectady at the old WSNY 1240. And what's happened to the stations in Albany is crazy. WSNY 12, but WSNY was WPTR, and it has since become WPTR again because WPTR has become something else. It's really crazy how they've not only changed call letters, they've swapped them back and forth. Wow. But we did a top 40 and oldies format back in the late 60s into the early 70s, back before oldies radio had really come into its own. And we actually took out a big chunk of the market. We were 1,000 watt daytimes, and I think 500 at night. At night, we couldn't even cover the whole market. But we took out a huge piece of the audience. And I'll tell you, from something that we created ourselves, this may have been one of my proudest accomplishments. I don't remember all the ratings. I obviously remember my own. And there was a time that I had the number 2 midday show in the Albany market with a station that was only 1,000 watts, and I was going up against WTRY, AM and FM, WPTR, WROW, WGY in Schenectady, and we got those ratings back, and I looked at the book, and I said, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
You sound like an eye chart.
But, yeah, that was a great crew we had there. I had a reunion with them back when I was up there a few years ago.
Nice.
And Bill Garcia, at Q105 WRBQ in Tampa, Florida, which was my last, that was my swan song in broadcast radio. And it was the high note to get out on. We were, for 18 months, we were the #1 FM rock station in the nation. And wow. That was something that we were really proud of. We still are. I still talk to the guys from there. And that was another crew. And I don't want to diminish what that crew did at WRBQ, but I still stand by my overall. I think the ABC crew in the late 60s was the strongest, although we had one heck of a crew. Obviously, we had to last that long as #1 nationally, but that was a great influence. Bill was a great boss. Bill was a hardcore boss. He may have been the toughest to work for that I had in my career, but of course it was also the biggest deal. And he monitored at home. He had a recorder at home that was automatically keyed to the station and would automatically air check every jock on there 24/7. And he even had his son Mark stay up and listen to it when he went to bed. And that's how I met Mark. But
cracking the whip, huh?
Oh yeah, and he had this big spotlight up on the track light over the console, and one of the lights was a huge red spot, like a sun lamp spot. And when that light came on, you not only saw the red glow, you could feel the heat, literally. And then you felt the heat mentally, because that was him calling to talk to you. And you knew it might be a compliment, but more than likely it's not. And we all got those phone calls. What the hell do you think you're doing? What was that you just did? But by the same token, he was incredibly fair, honest, and he was not tyrannical. I mean, if he called you and got on you about something and you had a logical and truthful explanation, well, I can give you a real quick example. There was one night I got on, the only night I ever had a migraine headache in my life, knock on wood, and I tried to tough it out. And I've got those headsets on, blaring away in my ears, and my head is like, I can't explain the pain. And I finally gave it up. I couldn't do it. And he called and asked me, what the hell are you doing? Don't you feel good? What's going on? And I told him, no, I got the worst damn headache I've ever had in my life. That was our air conditioner had conked out, and I think that's what caused it, because those control rooms are almost airtight. And I told him, I said, Bill, I've got to get somebody to come in here and take over. I can't do this anymore. And he turned immediately, said, Dave, don't worry. I'll get somebody in there. Relax. Just track records until he gets there. So he was a taskmaster, but he was also fair, and he was a good guy. I would work for him in a heartbeat.
The way he was listening to the radio station and having his son listen to it at night, would it be safe to say he was the original Big Brother? Just spying on you all the time.
There was another guy, darn, that name's going to escape me too, who was a national program director. He programmed a multitude of stations cross country, and this guy was really worse. He was like Bill, only he was tyrannical. If he called you up, chances are you were looking for work. And the story goes, and I was never at his house, so I don't know this for a fact, but the story goes he even had a monitor and phone in his bathroom. So he would track all the stations all the time, and he had a direct line to each of them. And I wish I could remember his name, but he was one of the early national program directors, probably the first national program director, and he was a hardcore.
Right on. We're joined by David Bowers. You can check him out every Sunday on blogtalkradio.com/The David Bowers Awards. Check him out. He's debuting new music every day, all the time. And David, before we get out of here, we got a few more minutes. I asked you before that I want a good pinch me moment. Pinch me, I can't believe my career has taken me to this point right here, and I'm hanging out with such and such or doing something that I can't believe I'm doing right now. Give me a good pinch me moment.
This moment right now would be one of them, because
you say the nicest
ago,
things.
I could never have believed that I'd be on screen with people that I had worked with in the past, especially with friends of mine. And that there have been several that when I got the job at Q105 in Tampa was another one. I mean, I applied for it because I knew there was an opening and I was in the market. They're going to hire. They don't know me. I'm not a big name jock from the market or anything, but I got that. That was one of those. Sometimes when I'm out meeting people, when I met Joe Bonsall was when I was up in upstate New York, and we had just started, I don't know, maybe a few months, maybe a few weeks, talking online. He invited me out to the show because they were going to be playing the Fulton County Fair in Fonda, and that was about 2 hours from where I was. And he said, well, why don't you come out to the show? I'll get you in. Okay, hey, free tickets, we'll go. What the heck? So my wife and I went out and went down to the show, and he had given me instructions how to come around and meet their road manager who would get me back to where he was. So he took me back, and I'm standing outside of the bus. He goes in, Joe comes out, we shake hands, we start talking. That's the picture you'll see me post occasionally of me with Joe in a red shirt. We stood there that night and talked. The first time we had ever met, we stood there and talked nearly an hour before he had to go do the show. He called his road manager and he says, take Dave and his wife in and get him a good seat. So Derek took us in, walked us in. It was the stadium where they do the shows and they have the cattle drives and everything. And Oaks joked it was probably the first show they ever did in dirt. But Derek took us in, people were just starting to come in, so all the seats were empty. And he says, well, there you go. Pick yourself a seat. No, let's see. I got to meet the Oak Ridge boys. I got my pictures taken with them. And I got my choice of front row seats to the show. Hey, pinch me.
Yeah, the benefits of working in the music industry, right?
Well, and meeting good people. As I said at the top of the show, I've been really fortunate. I've met a lot of good people, present company included, and I have been really blessed. We've had great guests, met some wonderful people, and I can't think of anyone I met that wasn't, at least trying to be a good person. But I have. I've met some wonderful people, and it really, really lays to rest the argument that celebrities are jerks.
Yeah. Some are, some aren't. It's kind of it's kind of 50-50.
Hey, David, just real quick, Garrett Plunkett wanted to say, tell him the Fight from Rome guys say hello.
Hey, Fight from Rome. I had them on the show, oh my God, what was that, 3, 4, 5 years ago? It was a while back, I remember. Get in touch with me. I'd like to know what you're doing.
Yeah, they're doing some things.
Actually, being here in about an hour or two to do Wrestle Fandom Radio.
Garrett hosts a show on the Disruption Networks as well called Wrestle Fandom Radio, where they talk about pro wrestling and stuff like that. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, have him get in touch with me. Tell him hello for me.
I will.
Wish him well, and have him get in touch with me. And if he doesn't have my email, I know you have it now.
Yep. I'll give it to him. Also, my mom, of course, says hello. And
Mama Z, I love you. Haven't talked to you lately. How's everything going for Mama Z?
She's doing well. She had a good summer. Actually, they're out on the road right now with their RV having fun. So
yeah, I saw some pictures here. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I guess they were out somewhere. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember I saw them and I said, "All right, good. She's out having a good time."
She's having a good time, man. I'm so happy where my parents' journey has brought them to. It's amazing. It's amazing to see where they're at right now, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Something else I love is you, my friend. It's been a great relationship throughout many, many years, and I appreciate the friendship and the support and everything we've done together throughout the years, and I just want to say thank you.
You're entirely welcome. It's been my pleasure, and I want to be sure and remind you that you owe me one. You got to come on my show now.
You know I like coming on your show. His co-host, his name is John Bon Jovial.
Yes, John Bon Jovial.
The type of guy that gives love a bad name,
Uh-oh.
John is a great guy, but he can give anything a bad name.
I love it. He's still rocking it
like
with you,
brother.
right? He's still kicking it with you every Sunday, right?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
oh yeah. We had to miss a week because he had a passing physical problem that took him to the ER, which sort of
He was wanted
messed
dead or
up
alive.
one show. And it was way too late for me to get anybody to fill in, so we had to skip a week. I think that's the first time in 5 or 6 years that's ever happened. But I did want to toss in one quick little thing now.
Yeah,
you
of course.
mentioned my show. I love you and appreciate you for it. I just want to remind everybody so they can find the right time. It's at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 Pacific, and if you're somewhere else in the world, 6 p.m. UTC, which is United Time, or the Universal Time Clock. So you can find us. But 2 p.m. Eastern is a good place to start.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great. It's been great to catch up with you. And
Always great.
Dave, you're a great man, and keep up the good work and spreading all the love of music. And it's been a great journey, huh?
It certainly has, and I'm glad I made that pit stop at the Utica Music and Arts Festival and met you and Joe. Great.
That was a great time. That was definitely a great time. Yes, indeed. Before we get out of here, though, we got to give some love and respect out to the sponsors. Stop into the showroom at 5865 Taberg Road in Rome and see why all their customers love their Nye V-Dub. Mention Disruption Network, receive $250 off any purchase. If you knowing the D, cut you a good deal, if you will. Check out their inventory at nyvdubofrome.com. And also, big love to our boy Eddie Alsheimer and EJA Moving Company, the professional movers. Call him today if you're looking to relocate, move your office. He has complete packing and unpacking services. He does it all. He'll move you anywhere. He'll really pretty much relocate you anywhere you need to go. Chicken, you want to go to Seattle? Eddie will move you out to Seattle. You want to move to Arizona with David over here? He will move you out there. David, you want to come back? I got a guy for you. EJA Moving Company. Hit him up online, ejmoving.com. And also got to mention, too, we got Trip Fest coming up, Trip Fest 2, in honor of our friend Vinny Captain Trip Moriel. Great music. I got a huge announcement tomorrow at 2 o'clock on the Drive, 92.7. Me and Tom Moriel are going to join Genesee Joe, make this big announcement. We got a band that hasn't played in like 25 years. All right, that's my hint. That's all I'm going to give you. And they're coming back for 2 nights, actually. They're going to be playing 2 nights. And one of those nights is at Trip Fest, Saturday, October 13th, at the Jewish Community Center, 2310 Oneida Street in Utica. Music that will be there that we can announce: Thunderwatt, our boys from the Crazy Fools, and also we're doing a 315 All-Star tribute to the Grateful Dead, featuring members of Uncle Fester, Groove Garden, Slug, and Esther. A whole bunch of friends coming together to honor Captain Trip. Speaking of Captain Trip, we're going to put out all his treasures from his head shops and everything he's got going on, 1993, 94, 92. They'll all be in the mix. There's going to be T-shirts there that you haven't seen since you were in high school. It's amazing what he has, and we need to get rid of it all. And when we do get rid of it all and you guys purchase some of this stuff, all that proceeds are going to go to Laney's Army to help the stray animals and doggies that are in need, for sure. Trip Fest is brought to you by the D, of course, and Doughboys Barbecue, Priceless Inspections, our good friend Josh Amodio, Saranac Brewery, Dr. Scott Domenico, and Donato Appraisal Services. So come on out and hang out with us at Trip Fest. Trip Fest 2, Saturday, October 3rd.
Last year was a blast, man. I had a great time last year.
Well, last year was on a Thursday.
I know,
if you
and
remember.
we still had a blast.
And we still had a great time. And then this year, being a Saturday, I think it's going to rock. And having this 315 All-Star tribute for the Grateful Dead, it's going to be off the hook, man. I'm going to see some friends I haven't seen in a while. I'm looking forward to that. So it was a reunion last year. It's going to be a reunion this year. And it'll be good to get all my friends under one roof and do it like we used to, and reminisce a little bit.
Party.
Yeah, reminisce. Tomorrow, Mike Peake's coming on the show. He'll be here. He's got an event he needs to promote, and I totally forgot. And I apologize, Mike, what your event is all about, but you did kind of hit me up last minute. And hopefully him and his wife come in, the power couple of Utica. Wait till he gets on breaking his balls tomorrow about the power couple thing.
But I love watching their videos. They dress all up in like these costumes and go to all the Comic-Cons and shit like that. They really get into it.
No, they really get into it, man. You think they do a bunch of role playing at the house too?
You better.
We'll talk. we'll talk about that with them tomorrow. That's for damn sure. I want to remind everybody they can listen to this podcast and previous podcasts of EC Radio, the D-Line, East Beats and Bizz, Wrestle Fandom Radio, which is coming up in just a little bit. All the content that we have here on the D you can listen to at DisruptionNetwork.net. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're pretty much everywhere. Twitch, Periscope, we do all that stuff. So on behalf of Mike Chicken O'Connor, I am Anthony Donaldson, and we are out.
Hey, Disruption Network. This is Mike Sacco, the general manager at Nye Volkswagen of Rome. If you don't know me by name, it's only because you have not received the best deal. There's only one reason to leave Utica, and that's to come see me in Rome and get the best deal on your next new, pre-owned, or certified VW. Mention that you heard this ad from Disruption Network and receive $250 off your next vehicle purchase. You'll know why our customers say, I love my Nye VW. Come see us at 5865 Rome Taberg Road in Rome, or visit us online at nyvwofrome.com.
The Property Sisters of the Mohawk Valley was born when 3 top producing agents with over 25 years of combined experience selling real estate joined forces to take real estate to the next level. We practice with honesty, integrity, and the knowledge to help make the buying and selling process easy and stress-free for all of our clients. We pledge to always make our clients our top priority from start to finish, and even after the house is closed. We will always be a valued resource for information and assistance for our buyers and sellers. Our customers over the years have become not only past clients, but great friends. As we join hands together as the Property Sisters of the Mohawk Valley, we look forward to serving our clients and our community and making a positive difference. You can reach us at 315-601-9630 for all of your real estate needs.
Hi, this is attorney Nick Passalacqua. The team of attorneys I have assembled at Passalacqua & Associates has been carefully hand-picked to include the best trial attorneys in the particular areas of the law that we practice. Have you been charged with DWI or any other crime? Members of our team include former assistant district attorneys, now fighting to protect your rights 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Have you or someone you love been seriously injured in a motor vehicle accident? Members of the team at Passalacqua & Associates include former insurance defense attorneys, now fighting to ensure that you get every penny you're entitled to. If you need legal help quick, don't waste your time or money calling anyone else. Remember, for legal help quick, you better call Nick and the team at Passalacqua & Associates. 315-500-NICK or 315-500-6425 or visit cnytriallaw.com today.
You know what the hell you're listening to? It's EC Radio.
Only on the D.